I said,
Well, maybe it moved down then because it happened so quickly. I don't know.
well,
Um,
perhaps.
Perhaps what?
Perhaps it moved down since it moved up.
I don't know, but
It
I bet you it'll move up before kickoff.
You think?
Yeah, it'll either move. Well, it'll only move up or down. I bet
Well,
you sharp money probably goes that makes it down. People take South Carolina. I
wouldn't
bet
you?
I would.
28 points in the SEC?
Yeah, I would move the line down. I think it's too much to cover.
I do too, for sure.
It's way too much. There's no plus even if Georgia's up by 3 scores, Kirby's going to take out the starters.
Well, we
And
also have
then
to. What
South
does
Carolina.
Spencer Rattler do well?
Huh?
Scramble and make plays, right? And we got Javon Bullard out. So,
He's not confirmed out yet.
do you think he's going to play?
I mean, maybe. I mean,
I don't
they
think
haven't
that.
said anything.
Well,
If he
maybe
can go, he's going to play. I think that's the same thing with Ladd.
what? Is
That
he getting
Yeah, the Ladd's going to play. If
really?
he if he can go, yeah, I don't see why he wouldn't. It's an SEC game.
I understand that, but I don't know. Kirby, of course, is not going to give you anything on the injury report, but it didn't sound too. I mean, he was out there. I'm talking about Javon. He was out there, but evidently he was non-contact and
Yeah, he practiced. He didn't practice Monday.
okay. Well,
Yeah, that's what. And then he said he should be able to go Wednesday. So then I guess he probably played with a non-contact Wednesday.
we'll see. But my point is, Georgia. I mean, they should win this game. They should cover, or not cover, but they should win the game. But I don't think they'll cover. I just don't.
Even if Georgia meaning what? Like meaning that Georgia plays good enough to like what?
10 to
What's your
17 points.
even if Georgia plays? So if Georgia plays well, your bar is 17 to 20 points.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not my
I
bar.
don't expect do you expect Georgia's offense to explode based on what you've seen so far? I don't.
I do.
You do?
Yeah, I mean they played base vanilla offense.
All right.
And they haven't had it. They haven't had. Look at the depth that they've had at running back. Kendall Milton maybe got. Let's look that up. I bet you Kendall Milton's got. Kendall Milton's probably only got 10 carries in
15.
both games.
That's closer to 15. We're arguing over 5 carries, but
Well, I just want to make the record state the record clean or whatever you say. Let's go. Okay. UT Martin. Kendall Milton had 9 carries against UT Martin. Oh my! I only. Let's see how many carries. Kendall Milton only had 7 carries against Ball State. So
what's that number?
9 plus 7. You do the math. I'm not really good at it.
I think it's 16. I said 15.
Okay, so yeah, you're one off. So yeah, he's only so, and then you're gonna have Edwards back. So, and I think.
Well, here's what I would say to you, man, is if it takes SEC play to get these guys interested and turned up and where they because based on what I've seen, and I get it, we play vanilla. I all that's probably 100% true. But I would also say that we haven't been able to get a push against inferior opponents. I'm not sure going up against South Carolina, you're going to see you'll see a little bit of an improvement, but I don't think our running game is just going to go off. I think the running
Well,
game is going to be a work in progress all year long.
I don't. I think the expectation that Georgia's going to have a really good run game in this game is. I don't think you should expect that. I think if the expectation should be about 110 yards rushing, that should be the expectation. South Carolina's defensive line isn't that great.
Puts a lot of pressure on a first-time quarterback starting in the SEC, though, man. If you're telling me we're only going to get 110 yards,
Well, I'm not saying only, but that should be the expectation. That should be the bar at the very least. That should be the bar.
do you not agree that puts a lot of pressure on Carson Beck?
Well, I mean, yeah, but I think the easy throws are going to be there.
You do.
I do.
All
You
right.
think so far what you've seen, you think they're going to attack and throw it further than 15 yards on a consistent basis? I don't.
Consistent basis? You talking about South Carolina and Georgia's defense?
No, no.
No.
Georgia's offense on South Carolina's defense. Carson Beck's going to throw further than 15 yards average on every passing attempt. I
No.
don't.
No.
Okay, well then they're going to be short, easy throws to move the ball down the field, and I think you're going to see him throw it sideways.
Well, perimeter blocking is going to have to improve based on what I've seen. I know
Yeah,
Kirby
Arian
Smith.
Smith's got to get better. That's why C.J. Smith's in there.
I haven't seen. He said they do it better in practice than they do it in the game, but I haven't seen. They've been a lot of whiffs.
Was it Josh Pate or Dean Legge that said that? Talked about that.
I don't know. I think it may have been Dean actually.
I think it might have been, but I mean, it's going to show up. So is this the game that shows up? Probably. If I had to put my money on it, it wouldn't be against Ball State and UT Martin.
You're playing better athletes, right?
Well, yeah.
All these guys are recruited, so yeah. I would think that if we see a dramatic improvement in the perimeter blocking and more push on the offensive line, that I would call that a win. Defense is going. I think the defense is going to do what it does. I am worried though about Spencer Rattler getting outside the pocket and freaking chucking them, and us having 2 turnovers, and next thing you know, it's a totally different freaking ball game in the third quarter than what you thought it was going to be.
I mean, he didn't do it last year. What would change from this year to last year? He's facing the same exact defense. They have a new coordinator.
Nolan Smith
and Jalen Carter, sure, yeah, they're gone. But outside of that, I know those are 2 big, just wash over them.
Christopher Smith in the middle. You've gutted. I mean, you've gutted the center of your defense, man. Well, not really gutted. You still got the linebackers there, but
right.
I'm telling you, I mean, Georgia's defense is good. I think they'll be completely fine, but I wouldn't be surprised to give up, some big time pass plays, turnovers, and Kirby's been, preaching it. I'm telling you, if he can not have any turnovers and we get 1 or 2,
good luck on him not getting any turnovers.
Who? Carson? Oh yeah.
He's gonna throw 50-50 balls. He's gonna throw balls into coverage. I don't think Spencer Rattler is that good. I could eat my words Sunday morning, but I don't think he's that. He is a good quarterback. Is he an elite quarterback? No, he's not up there with. And those are the guys that are going to give us the most problem. It's going to be the Strouds. It's going to be the Bryce Youngs of the world. Those we don't have those, or we're not facing those.
But you do know his completion percentage versus like everybody else versus Georgia, right?
It's high, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's like 70-something percent, and then when he plays Georgia, it's well under 50%. So I don't know. There has to be something to that, right?
Yeah. Well, there's that, and then their offensive line sucks, and he's going to be constantly under pressure, and he's going to be, running around, and he might do good, throwing out of the pocket and being on the run, but consistently being pressured like that's hard to do. And North Carolina's defense got 9 sacks against them. I know it was the first game of the year. It was in a neutral site, but North Carolina's defense is not as good as Georgia's defense. They're not even in the same ballpark.
But Georgia's not going to do,
They're not going to bring pressure. They
Yeah.
might, well, in this game they might.
They'll try to affect, yeah, whatever that means. Kirby says that all the time, and I understand what he's talking about. They play team defense, but they're going to make it hard for him to get outside the pocket, right? Our
Yeah,
defensive backs are going to have to cover for longer, and
yeah.
that's what kind of
They're going to be
makes me
antsy.
nervous.
Well, there's going to be pass interference all the time.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm glad you brought that up. I wouldn't be disappointed if Georgia has like 3 or 4 pass interference calls in the first quarter.
No,
Honestly.
I wouldn't care.
Referees are going to set the standard, right? And they're going to be like,
Yeah,
well, we can call pass interference every play.
yeah,
Physical, physical, physical on the edges.
yeah.
Like,
Not get beat deep. I think that's what's going to. And then here's another thing. I think South Carolina is going to walk into like not a Tennessee game because that within itself like Kirby called them out just to make the atmosphere better. But I think even if Kirby didn't say anything, it would have been just as loud. I think it's going to be more like that noon game in 2021 against Arkansas.
that's what Josh Pate said.
It,
Yeah.
and I think that's 100% correct. And if Georgia jumps on them and it's 10-0, 17-0,
Well, I'll play devil's advocate. What have you seen about Georgia about being able to jump anybody in the first quarter?
well, I think that's probably wouldn't that be your focus going into this game? Wouldn't that
Yeah,
be
it would be if I was Kirby.
okay?
Yeah.
Well, then that's probably what's going to happen.
But man, I know I've said it, but if you have a team that has to flip the switch and plays with its food, you wonder about those teams that can play at their level. I mean, I do believe Georgia is going to make the college playoffs and make it to the SEC championship. I just do because I don't think they're going to be pushed, but you worry about those teams that can push them, right?
Yeah,
And then if you have to constantly be up to flip the switch, that's the thing. Last 2 years that Georgia had a tendency to play with its food, and that we were there in 2019.
yeah.
That shit can eat you up and bite you in the ass, and that is still my concern.
It's such different scenarios though. From that 2019 game to this game, you had a noon kick. It wasn't on, it was on ESPN, but it wasn't like the main primetime 3:30 game on CBS. You didn't have the background of, well, Tonka. I know I pissed off a lot of South Carolina fans, but Tonka didn't name Sanford Stadium as one of the toughest places to play. This is going to be a live.
Let's just talk about that for a second.
What?
The whole Tonka thing.
Well, yeah.
Kirby, I mean, of course he was
That was
using
made up.
Huh?
That was all made up.
Oh, for sure.
I think that was a planted. I think it was a planted question.
I do too.
The way it worked and that he knew who it was.
Yeah, it was another way for Kirby to call on the fans to be elite. And I will tell you, while we're talking about that, if that crowd is sleepy, and if it's like you're talking about, it took us 41 years to win one championship. And I'm telling you, if that crowd is sleepy, I'm going to be really disappointed because what did Kirby say? The whole thing about complacency. We cannot be complacent. I mean, shit can go wrong quickly in the SEC, as we saw, and we've seen before. So I would hope that it's a rowdy crowd.
I think it's going to be a rowdy crowd. I would be. I don't even know. I wouldn't even fathom it.
What, it's going to be mid 80s?
Yeah, it's going to be like a City of Commerce day. I don't see why anyone wouldn't want to go to the game, B, and be loud. I think it's going to be loud. Kirby called the fan base out. And then another thing is like, this is why we need the mic so I can mute myself, but we'll make do for right now. But
if you muted yourself, wouldn't it just look like you had epilepsy?
Maybe, but whatever. That doesn't matter. But
is that going to be censored?
No, who cares what YouTube says? We're not going to make any money anytime soon anyway. But depending on how this podcast is going. But
No soup for you, bitch. I'm gonna be in the soup kitchen pretty soon.
but there it's been on social media, Barstool, and that stupid podcast. I cannot stand Casey Smith. Have you seen that clip of her? It's such
I don't even know who Casey Smith is.
well, probably a good thing. But they have a college football podcast on Necessary Roughness. People have their opinions on it. I don't like it that much. I just don't think it's that good. But anyway, she basically said if Kirby Smart is creating this thing about the Sanford Stadium not being loud, then Sanford Stadium isn't loud. That's not how that works. I don't know what math equation that is, but it's fucking stupid.
No, you want. I mean, yeah.
You want the fan base. Why would anyone be loud for a 28-point spread at a 3:30 in the afternoon? Why would anyone want to get up for that? So Kirby, of course, is going to challenge the fan base to be loud whenever they're basically four touchdown favorites.
Right. No, it was all, yeah. And if you have to challenge your fan base to be loud, it's not loud. That's not really.
Nick
why
Saban
do you have to do a whiteout then? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What you could you could do all those whiteouts and like all the little trinket, like the uniform games. Like, why would you have to do any of those?
Right.
Yeah, it depends on your opponent. I've never understood that argument. It's the dumbest thing ever. But I know it was all made up, and South Carolina fans got upset on me. I'll plug the Dawn of the Dog. It's really great stuff. But I know they got upset, but I don't know. I don't know why you'd be upset about that. Why'd you be upset? Not about me. You could take whatever you want from that. I am an idiot. But why would you be upset about Kirby? Why does that upset you so much? I don't understand.
Well, here's the other thing. Relax, Francis. You know, we're Southeastern Conference opponents here. You didn't. All you said was who names their kid Tonka, knowing it was a nickname. First of all,
well, yeah,
right.
I would never go after a kid's real name.
It was a joke.
And they said it's clashless to go after a kid. Me and Tonka, by the way. Let's see how old Tonka is. I think Tonka might be the same age as me. Hold on.
And number
2001. So he's as old as Maddie is.
Yeah.
He was born on Halloween. What a birthday.
And number 2, calling you a journalist.
Yeah, and I'm nothing close to a journalist. I don't have an editor, and I don't have an AP style, and I don't go by journalistic ethic code. So, but yeah, he's 21 years old. So me and Tonka are only 2 years apart.
Wow.
He's turning 22 at the end of next month. Good for him. Happy birthday, Tonka.
Well, I just hope Tonka didn't have a early birthday.
Did you see that clip of Stetson decleating? It was last year, whenever we were at the game, where Brock Bowers ran that jet sweep. Yeah. And he scored that touchdown. That was early in the game, wasn't it? It was like in the first quarter. Stetson laid a block on Tonka and pancaked him. Decleated
really?
him. Yeah. I'll show it to you after. But yeah, it decleated him. So I'm not 5'0" Stetson decleated him. I don't really care.
Wow. By the way, I hope he's okay, but that doesn't sound great, right?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, and nobody's done any reporting on it.
Maybe they shouldn't, right?
I guess for Stetson,
there's something personally going on. He has to figure it out, right? Probably better if he didn't have a whole lot of reporting.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel bad. I don't know what's going on, and I do like Stetson's move though of going to the first game of the year and not, because like Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean, all those guys, they went out
on the sideline.
Yeah, and they were on the field and they got honored. Stetson sitting in the stands just with sunglasses and a cap.
But his brother's still playing though, right?
Yeah, Luke's still playing.
Yeah, I think I saw him in the sidelines. But yeah, how many people do you think around there was like, that's Stetson?
Oh, tons of people on Twitter. It was all over Twitter. People taking pictures of him sitting and watching the game.
Really?
Yeah, if I saw him, I would definitely say something like, "Hey, appreciate it, thank you. You want a Coke? I'll buy you a Coke. Popcorn, peanuts."
uh,
But
his parents have season tickets, I guess.
yeah, yeah. But I think Stetson can probably afford to go to any Georgia game he wanted to.
I would think he'd probably be able to call somebody up and get some.
Well,
tickets,
that too. He is a letterman. They do go in for free.
right?
Davis did that, and they have really good lemonade, evidently.
Is that the inside skinny?
Yeah, I was the inside skinny. That was always my goal. Never got there, but yeah, lemonade was really good. That's what I was told.
Well, maybe you can do a solid for Davis one day, and he'll let you in to
I
taste
doubt
lemonade.
that. He probably
Just bring some out to you.
he probably wouldn't even want to bring me in because I'd embarrass him. I'd talk to everyone like Chris Farley with Paul McCartney.
Remember that time?
Yeah, remember that time? Yeah, you're so cool. I love you. So cool. All right. So I what does so you let's start here. You think Georgia wins the game, correct?
I do.
Confidence meter 1 through 10, 10 being the most confident, 1 being the least. Where would you be on Georgia?
7.89.
On Georgia winning the game.
Yeah.
Okay, I would be at like a 9.7. Georgia wins this game.
Wait till the first quarter when there was 6-3, and let's see where
Well, yeah, that'll be different. In game's a lot different than
yes, it is.
pre and
For
post.
somebody who's watched games with you your entire life, yes, it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I would say a little less than 8%, 8 out of 10, 80%.
Well, I think let's see, FPI. The matchup prediction gives Georgia 91.8% chance of winning, and Georgia or South Carolina at 8.2% chance of winning.
All right.
I would be shocked if this is a knife fight in the fourth quarter, or even in the second half. I would be.
Got a problem. We got a
It
problem.
would be a problem if Georgia's in a knife fight because then that means we're not even. I know it's one game and they're not all connected.
Midway third quarter, though.
Yeah, it would be a problem.
In a 10-point game.
Yeah, it would
I
be a
can see
problem.
that.
It would be a
Yeah.
major problem if that is the case. Because you're.
But I could see that though.
I'd.
Midway
I
third
would hit
quarter.
the panic button. Sorry, what
You
were you
would?
saying? Yeah, I would hit the panic button.
I wouldn't. If Georgia came back and it was a 10-point game in the midway in the third quarter, Georgia held and came back and won by 17. That's not a panic. It's an SEC game.
How much did North Carolina beat South Carolina by what? It was 31-17, right?
Yeah, but you always tell me about transference, man.
I know it doesn't matter, but at home,
you're not going to hit the panic button on this team. I think there's too many. I think it's going to take. I mean, it's going to be hard for us, but I don't think Georgia is going to. I'd be surprised. I'll say it this way: if Georgia flies through this schedule as easy and as weak as everybody says it is, and by crushing their opponents like they've done, I think it's going to take a while for this offense to gel, to find its identity. I think the defense is really good, like Kirby's defense always is, but are they going to keep people under 10 points? No. I think we're going to have to, a lot of teams are going to score 20 to 24 points on us.
All right. Well, then over under how many points South Carolina gets. And I'll put it at 21 and a half.
Really? It's funny. I was going to say 21.
So you'd go under the 21 and a half then. I don't think South
I would go under the 21 and a half. Yeah, I think they score 21. Georgia scores 38, something like that, 38-40.
I think Georgia scores in the 40s. I think South Carolina scores maybe 17 points. I just don't think they have the offensive line. And they might be able to hit a couple big plays through the passing game, then that's whatever, fine. But you're going to have to play perfect. You're going to have to drive the ball down the field against a Kirby Smart's defense. That's what you're going to have to do, and you're going to have to pick them apart. And you don't have the offensive line to do that, no matter how good your quarterback is. Doesn't matter who's back there. You're going to have to drive the ball down the field, and you're going to have to do that consistently. Good luck. It's not going to happen. It's the same thing with Tennessee. Good luck.
I wouldn't disagree, but the ability to hit a couple of those deep shots on a scramble play and a Carson Beck getting outside the pocket, not tucking the ball and a fumble, I could see, I could see a very real scenario where Georgia's offense is getting their sea legs under them, and the defense young. We're not going to have Javon Bullard back there. I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised to see South Carolina score some points.
I think this is all PTSD from the Mark Richt era. I really do.
Well,
every time,
hard to shake, man.
Every time that we're in this position, every time under Kirby, is South Carolina always saying, "Oh, ooh, look out," and then nothing happens. The same thing in 2018. It was the same thing in 2017. It was the same thing in 2021.
About 2019.
Wow.
About that bitch.
Yeah. Well, that's one time.
Yeah. Well, I remember that one time.
Well, this is a different program than 2019.
No, I totally agree.
This is a different team than 20. I think this team already could be the 2019 team.
I don't know. I have to go back and look and see
that offense.
Well, are we taking the offensive coordinators and making them the same? Or
no, we're making the offensive coordinators different.
Oh, well, then hellfire.
Well, yeah, of course. So, yeah, this Georgia team is a lot better.
I do want to see. I want to see Bobo. I want to see him be a little bit more creative, right?
Well, yeah, it's very predictable what Georgia's doing. I would like to see less third downs.
That's true.
Or if we do see third downs, I'd like to see, instead of third and medium, I'd like to see third and short.
Everything has been a struggle. And that does remind me of that 2019 team where Coley's offense, it was a freaking struggle, everything. And that's 2 games.
And it might be on purpose. Preseason. Yeah, so 100% on purpose. It was totally on purpose.
Well, yeah, we ran the ball a lot with 8, 9 men in the box, right? But even still, I know what Kirby's saying. Offensive line, you got 8 or 9 people in the box. You're against an inferior talent. Make it happen. And we weren't able to make that happen.
No, but I also don't think we have the backs. Like Roderick Robinson, I know he's young and this is like his first 2 games playing, but you got to hit the hole harder, man. You got to. And you got to keep your feet moving. And there was that touchdown that he scored against Ball State. He did that. He hit the hole hard.
Yeah.
And so
the first time I saw him, you know what I would say? And tell me if you agree. I would say we need to see more suddenness.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, a lot more quicker decision making.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More suddenness, I think, is just the word. He's going to have the power. I like him. I really do. I think he's going to be a good back. But, first 2 games in college, what did we expect?
Yeah. No, I was just like that. And I think if Kendall Milton gets carries, and I think Dejon gets carries, I think Georgia's going to be fine in the running game. I do. I just do. So I know you're not as confident as I am, but I think they're going to.
It's funny about the way we watch games. I could be a lot more confident in and even when we're down at halftime or behind, I'm still more confident than you are. Once we get in the games, I'm in it, baby. But you, all before the game, I still remember Ohio State. They're soft. We're gonna whip their ass.
I mean, look, if we played that game 9 times out of 10, I think Georgia blows them out.
And then the 3rd and 4th quarter, I thought I was gonna have to go and give you a little a blankie. because you were curled up in the fetal position.
Well, it didn't look too great, and it didn't look too great. That was bad, but
Mhm.
whatever. That's still that again. That's a Larry, well, not Larry Munson, but I blame it on him. But also, that's Mark Rick era. Still, it touches me pretty heavily.
Well, I think it does all of us, but I don't know. Once I'm in the game, I keep thinking, well, I'm like Dumb and Dumber. There's a chance.
Wow, yeah, I think Georgia would have more of a chance against South Carolina. All right, so let's get your score prediction. We'll hold this on. Well, we'll hold you to it Sunday morning post.
All right. I'll say South Carolina 20. I'll say Georgia 38. 38 to 20.
38-20.
And the sky is going to be falling.
If Georgia has any semblance of struggle on offense, no matter what the score is, the sky will be falling.
Yeah.
They're gonna Georgia now. I know we're supposed to be doing final scores or wrapping this up, but I do worry about the kicking game. I worry about that a lot. And if we're in one of those games where we need a kick, I don't know how fucking confident I am in any of the kickers.
You better find out now, though, right?
I really don't want to find out. And this,
Yeah, well, that's the problem. That would be the other answer. If we're having to rely on a kicker this early in the season, there's bigger problems.
well, yeah, there's major problems, but we'll see. I'm gonna go. I need the mute mic. I'm gonna say Georgia gets Carson Beck's gonna throw for over 300 yards.
All right, that's a good prediction.
Um,
Any turnovers?
I can see one happening. I don't see more than one happening. I think he probably throws for 2 to 3 touchdowns. I'll go 48-17 Georgia.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll go 10 points higher
Let
than
me ask you this. I'm gonna turn it around. What if my scenario is 38 to 20? How honestly, how big of a panic button do you think is going to be hit? And
throughout the fan base.
yeah,
That's that loud minority that already hates Bobo will be very loud, and I think you'll have more Georgia fans who are wait and see. I think they're going to be closer to the get rid of Bobo.
well,
I don't think the panic button will be fully hit, but I think there'll be grumbles.
there'll be grumbles, but it's also how those 38 points are scored, right? You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
The
yeah,
context
yeah.
around,
Because if the defense gets a pick six or
yeah,
the defense gets a turnover in the red zone on our end of the field,
yeah.
they do that a
Gets us a
couple
short
times.
field and we struggle all night long.
Yeah,
Turn the ball over.
that
Yeah.
I'll panic about that if that's the case. If you can't get it done against this South Carolina defense, this South Carolina defense is not. It was a last and run defense in the SEC last year. They haven't gotten any better. They didn't get any recruits have been special. I've watched. Furman ran on them. Let's see how much.
Furman have over 150 yards.
Let's see. Furman ran for 30 yards. And hey, I'll tell you,
30 yards though, dude.
or not 30 yards, 80 yards. I'm sorry.
Still not. I mean,
Whatever. But Furman had 243 passing yards.
well,
So I don't think this defense is that. I don't think South Carolina's defense is that good. I just don't. So if it's a struggle, there are major issues. If Georgia can't score more than 30,
see, that's where you and I are different. Like, even if I think the most I just know it's going to take a while for this offense to start clicking, man. And so I'm not. if we play clean and maybe we have struggles and we do get a short field, but we don't have penalties, we don't have turnovers, some drives stall. I'm not going to panic about that just because I think it's going to take them a while to start finding their identity. And I wouldn't be surprising to me if the offense is not what it was last year. Like Georgia's offense, whenever it wanted to go, Ohio State, Oregon,
South Carolina.
South Carolina. I don't think that's the type of offense we're looking at this year, man.
Oh, all right. Well, I mean,
you do though. You think it's more along the lines?
I think it will be. I think the past 2 games have it's been toned down. I think it's going to be on par.
Really,
everyone around the program thinks so. Aaron Murray thinks so. I'll always listen to.
Hey, they know more than I do. I mean, so
I think Carson Beck's a good quarterback.
I do too.
Well, okay. Well, then I think Georgia's offense will be. It might be a step below, but it'll be about the same.
Well, we'll compare notes after the game, I guess.
All right. Well, we'll have a recap on the game Sunday. Check out Dawn of the Dog if you want to read my stupid writings. You want anything to plug?
Me?
Yeah, Unishippers, anything.
Oh, if you got to ship packages, ship with Unishippers.
There you go. All right.